What's going on, you guys? My name's Ty Knotts, and welcome to Top 5 Unknowns. 5 mysterious national park disappearances. Number 5. Devil's Den State Park is a part of the Arkansas State Park system. Devil's Den stretches about 2,500 acres of forested land, much of which has yet to be explored. It's in the Lee Creek Valley in the Boston Mountains, which are the southwestern part of the Ozarks. In 1933, the National Park System began building on Devil's Den. They created an 8-acre man-made lake and attempted to document the thousands of other acres by placing in walking trails, signage, and creating park maps. The park is open year-round for a variety of recreational activities and is the site of many educational field trips. In 1946, something mysterious and even disturbing occurred in the park. Catherine Van Alst was an 8-year-old while vacationing with her family. They took a trip to Devil's Den State Park, and it's unclear exactly how the little girl became lost, but while spending time with her family, she must have wandered off and fell victim to the confusing and twisting trails of the mysterious forest. She was lost for 6 days as several search teams desperately inspected the park. At some point, her family began to worry that she may not even be found alive and perhaps have been attacked by a predatory animal and become the victim of a kidnapping. The search continued on, despite dwindling hope, and it's lucky that it did because Catherine was finally found. Porter Chadwick was a student at the University of Arkansas during Catherine's disappearance and was leading a search team when the young girl was located. As he and other witnesses reported, the girl was found standing in a cave just a few yards from her campsite. When the search party approached her, she walked out eerily calmly, with a blank expression on her dirty face, and simply said in a monotone voice, "Here I am." It's uncertain why the young girl is behaving so strangely, and her disappearance is still a mystery to this day, as to how no one could have found her when she was so close to her campsite. Number 4. The case of this missing child is discussed here and there online, but in each article a limited amount of information is made available, which is what makes the disappearance even more odd. In most cases, even the not-so-notable ones have a vast slew of information available online or in archives. In this case, just a few key details are published. A young boy named Larry Jeffrey vanished seemingly into thin air near the peak of the 12,000-foot Mount Charleston in 1966. The young boy was hiking with his family when he disappeared. Immediately after, his brothers reported him missing, and a search was initiated. Within days after the boy was still not found, the National Guard team became involved, and even put a team of bloodhounds to work in case the boy had been injured during his absence. A lengthy search ensued, and in a TV interview, David Paulides made an infamous comment. He discussed that no predators were afoot during the hike that day, and that it was impossible for a drive-by kidnapping to occur thanks to the location. David instead assumed that the boy had walked into oblivion as there was absolutely no sign of him in the area. It was described that Larry was wearing light clothing when he disappeared, so when the weather drastically changed and frigid temperatures filled the forest, authorities suspected the boy would not survive. While searching, teams often found a lead and would follow the boy's trail, but continued to meet a dead end with no sign of the boy. In some instances, teams of searchers were able to find proof that the boy had eaten bugs and collected berries to survive while traveling through the terrain. Unfortunately, even these fantastic leads ended up empty. It's said that 1,000 people searched for the boy over 16 days, but they never found him. To this day, a body has never been found either, but it's likely that due to wildlife living in the area, his body could have simply been consumed. The limited details on this case and the rare circumstances of finding evidence only to never find the boy make it all the more mysterious. Number 3. Pradeep Sundar was a 25-year-old Canadian Army reservist who disappeared in an Australian national park. The park is located in New South Wales and covers about 2,700 miles of forest and mountain areas. It also includes Australia's highest peak, known for its beautiful view. In May of 2013, he was studying abroad near the region and decided somewhat foolishly to embark on a 1,700-mile road trip from Gold Coast to Melbourne. He told his friends and family about his upcoming trip and went out and rented a van to make his journey more comfortable, and then reported to the park's Charlotte Pass in the Snowy Mountains. After that, though, he was never seen again. Suspicions were raised when the rental company realized that the van had still not been returned many days after its due date. The rental company began efforts to locate him and their van by first reaching out to him. When those efforts proved fruitless, they then inquired with his friends and family, which sparked even more concern. Most people that knew him personally were not informed about his side hikes, stops, and other details of his trip, so they assumed he was still enjoying his adventure. If the rental company hadn't noticed the discrepancy, there's no telling how long it would have taken for a search to begin. Similarly, if they had noticed sooner, perhaps a search party would have begun looking a week prior and may have had luck finding him. Eventually, search teams were able to find out more information about his trip and looked at the search history on his laptop. They plotted his stopping points and finally located the van. However, he was nowhere near it and the search continued, this time more desperately, covering miles of his trip, but trying to stay close to where the van was located, with search crews dedicating 2 weeks to trying to find him before eventually calling it off. Investigators used search dogs and data from cell phone towers to try and track him down, but left empty-handed. It was, however, discovered that just a day before his van was due to return, he embarked on a snowy hike that would have been challenging for even the most experienced explorers. Many question why a trained military man would make such a choice and speculate foul play to have been involved. In 2014, an NSW coroner declared him dead, with his cause of death to be a misadventure, describing that he was ill-equipped and not prepared for the trip that he took. His body has still not been found and likely never will be. Number 2. This story of two honeymooning lovebirds doesn't have the sweet, touchy feeling you may expect. In 1928, newlyweds Bessie and Glen Hyde were spending their honeymoon going on nature-based adventures in northern Arizona. They planned to go down the Colorado River and then boat to the Grand Canyon for a breathtaking tour of one of America's greatest landmarks when they mysteriously vanished. Glen was an experienced boater that accepted the challenge with joy. Bessie, who would have been the first woman to successfully complete the trip, was new to boating. The pair had come across other boaters on their trip who described that Glen seemed to be pushing Bessie to complete the journey, although she was unsure and even scared. If they would have completed the trip, there was a reward of a paid lecture tour, meaning that this could have been motivating Glen to push Bessie beyond her limits. The two apparently embarked on their mission and were never seen again. A few months later, after their families had filed complaints about them going missing, their boat was discovered. It would appear that the boat had not been disturbed through the duration of their disappearance. It was found sitting upright, filled to the brim with supplies, but lacking the couple that intended to ride in it. A string of theories have floated around in the decades following the couple's disappearance into thin air. Speculations include that the couple abandoned their original mission and tried to side hike that proved too difficult, and that they had a fight that turned violent and one killed the other and fled to start a new life. Others say that they could have been the victims of an abduction, but even stranger still is that some have reported seeing the couple since they had gone missing. Going off of photos and descriptions, people have claimed seeing the couple living in faraway cities. Sometimes one person is reported without the other, which encourages the theory of a passionate murder case. If the couple or one of them somehow actually is alive and living a secret new life somewhere in America, investigators have not been able to locate them yet, so the mystery lives on regardless of these alleged sightings. The unfortunate reality, though, is that the couple likely suffered some sort of severe injury during their journey, or they simply got lost and wandered too far off the trail. Number 1. 5-year-old Alfred Bale is the first recorded person to have drowned in Colorado's Rocky Mountain National Park. The truth behind his drowning is controversial. Young Alfred was visiting the popular park known for its mountain hikes with beautiful views and river campsites perfect for summer trips with his family in 1938. Alfred's father entered the river to bathe and enjoy a relaxing evening. Alfred followed and spent some time there with his father before deciding that he would swim about 500 feet upstream to meet the other family members that were also enjoying some water fun. His father eventually lost sight of him but assumed that he would make it fine, as he was a great swimmer according to the family. After everyone returned to their campsites, they realized that Alfred had still not joined the group and that he'd gone missing. 100 different people volunteered to help search for the boy within 45 minutes of him being reported missing. Though they searched the day and night, they never found the boy. About a day after he vanished, though, a couple reported seeing a little boy that matched Alfred's description about 6 miles from his campsite in an area known as the Devil's Nest. Authorities immediately headed toward the location, but either arrived too late or were following a dead-end lead, because once they arrived, he was never found. The search went on for about 10 days and included the help of 250 different people and a team of bloodhounds. Finally though, the search dwindled and was called off. Years later, the boy's disappearance was labeled as a drowning, though his body has never been found. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to click that like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell to keep updated with our videos.